But taking what you guys are saying about being in the more creative, cutting-edge space, more in the visual arts and that, and applying what you've learned and what you've seen, and going back to the Rust Belt, and going back to a lot of the service providers, the small manufacturers, the people who have made their living for years doing a fairly specific manufacturing form of design and perhaps production. What's going to happen there? And do you have any thoughts on the ways to take some of this really creative, avant-garde, cutting-edge type stuff and actually take it back to the core small businesses that create so many jobs and have had such a hard time?
It's a tough question. Big manufacturing is still, is hard to compete with when you're talking about low-wage labor. And I've seen it done. I worked in a manufacturing company on the West Coast that was really in competition with companies in Eastern Europe and Asia. And I grew up, as did you actually, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which was a manufacturing town. It's a blue-collar town. And we saw the companies close as they all moved to China. So I think, man, it's not an easy question to answer. How do we get that back? I think one of the things that I've said here already is that we have to be willing to move fast, and we have to be willing to do things on a smaller scale and be flexible. And I think one of the keys to that is totally education, and because I think a lot of people who are in old manufacturing jobs are in a very comfortable spot, and when that changes, you don't know what to do. And so you have, it helps so much if people are educated about the new tools that are coming online, the new markets where they can market their abilities and tools to. But I think we have a long road ahead of us to wait for kind of wages to equalize between countries so we can get more manufacturing base here. I worked in a manufacturing facility for 5 years where I was a design engineer working with a company that's about $1 billion revenue that made robotic machines every day. And so one of the ways they survived, like I said, was being really flexible, moving fast, and redesigning all the time to keep customers' needs and to cut delivery time so that they're not waiting for products to come from Asia. I think the whole Toyota production method and lean manufacturing is a mindset that starts from the beginning. And so I think it's great if you can kind of operate your business that way, but a lot of it is very counterintuitive. And so it's an education from the beginning of the way you start designing and you start manufacturing. And so it's a great challenge to take hold of, and it's totally worth it from what I've seen.
And one more thing is that low-cost labor does not necessarily always pan out when you have to keep communicating back and forth, and so then there's delays, and as Bill was saying, like, speed is so crucial. So you might do those numbers, which seem like the most important ones, but in the end, it really is better to keep it local.